graduation season upon us, it is no doubt that many parents are gearing up for the new feel of being an empty nester.
For those soon to be celebrating your child's youngest graduation, it can be an emotional moment for some. Returning home to a quiet house after several years filled with sports and extracurricular activities can feel somewhat disorienting.
Yes, definitely. But at the same time, empty nesters have a newfound opportunity to explore maybe their favorite hobbies, plan that dream vacation, change homes, or maybe even relocate to a new city. In this time of transition, it's important to reassess your household finances. But before we get into that, Lyndsey, why don't you read our disclaimer?
Yeah. This is being recorded on May 1st, 2024. The contents of this podcast are strictly for informational purposes only, and nothing said should be taken as investment, tax, or legal advice. It is important to discuss your situation with a professional before making any financial decisions, as the strategies discussed may not be suitable for you specifically.
So now that the graduation party streamers have settled, it might be time to make that appointment and take a look at your financial plan. You should reevaluate your spending habits and your household budget. Now that your youngest might be flying the coop and getting their own job, your household habits might change.
I agree, Leah. Things like utilities and food expenses may be reduced now that you're no longer feeding those growing teens or doing 15 loads of laundry each week.
Yeah, definitely. But also on the flip side, you might see yourself spending a little bit more on eating out, taking those weekend getaways, or maybe planning that travel vacation that you've wanted to take for a while now.
And while it can be tempting to go on that small spending spree with the extra money in your pocket, be sure to ensure that you are still taking the time to meet those long-term financial goals. If you do find yourself with some extra cash flow during these times, a good way to utilize this would be maxing out your employer 401k if you haven't done already.
When it comes to your financial plan, you may need to set limits and financial boundaries with your young adults. It's natural for parents to want to help out their children as much as possible, especially when they're starting that first job or moving to a new city on their own. However, setting those clear boundaries with your children regarding the financial support that they will be receiving from you is a great way to help your children grow into financially responsible adults.
A great example of this would be cell phones. Some parents don't mind carrying their child on their cell phone plan into years of adulthood. However, be sure to compare the costs of having them on your family plan versus having them get their own line.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing to consider is health insurance. Your kids do not technically need to stay on your health insurance until they're age 26. However, some may want to, or you might want to continue to have them on there through till 26, as it's a less of a cost to incur for the children. And it might be a policy where there's no additional cost for you to have that child on your plan if you already have that family plan. This is something that you should check with your employer coverage to see if it's doable.
Credit cards is another financial aspect to check in with your kids as they approach adulthood. I see some parents wanting to be helpful and supportive by giving them a credit card in those college years to help pay for emergencies and different expenses needed. However, with your empty nester's new job, it may be time to teach them healthy boundaries with money. Personally, my banker mom helped me sign up with a line of credit through my bank account where I could easily move money for emergencies from that line of credit to my checking account. And as I grew into more financial independence, after time, I applied for my own credit card to earn more credit by taking on that responsibility.
Another important part of your financial plan is your insurance coverage. Make sure you're reevaluating your insurance, such as your life insurance policies. There are many options to consider, such as whole life policies or term life policies, and these both have their advantages and disadvantages. A whole life policy could be something that's a good tool for the younger children that are leaving the coop. It is usually a little bit cheaper for a child that is younger and in good, healthy condition. However, if we're looking at a good life insurance policy for those that are actually a little bit older, might not be in the best health conditions, a term policy could be what is beneficial for you. However, having these policies in place is a good way to make sure that you have the extra cushion of income if something was to unforeseeably happen to you.
In some special circumstances, carrying term life insurance longer can be useful if you have an elderly parent as well, relying on you for that financial support.
Yeah, but all in all, if you have determined that you have enough retirement assets or other assets to live comfortably solo, and you do not have any dependents at the moment that might be relying on the additional income, Paying off those life insurance premiums might not be what is best for you, and ultimately you might not need that life insurance policy anymore. This is something that you would want to work with a professional to understand a little bit more. Something that we have mentioned before regarding your financial plan is using 529 plans. If your children are now grown up and leaving the coop, you might have some of those 529 plan money left over. This is an important topic because you don't want to leave this money untouched. Lyndsey is going to get into a couple of the regulations that there are now with the leftover money that might be in those 529 plans.
Yeah, Leah. Starting January 1st, 2024, you're allowed to roll over a maximum lifetime limit of $35,000 from those 529 plans to a Roth IRA. Now, you have to remember to keep the limitations of $7,000 annually this year that you can only contribute on an annual basis. You also have to have owned the 529 plan for at least 15 years. So in today's day and age, 2024, the Roth limit of $7,000 will take 5 years to roll over the lifetime limit of $35,000.
These are all things to consider now that your children have fled the coop and begin their adult journeys. This can be an exciting and an emotional time, so make sure that you look to a professional to discuss empty nesting planning if you have any further questions.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and stay tuned for more. And as always, don't forget, share the wealth.